Okay. Welcome to another episode of the TheDropPodcast. Today, so I said I was coming, and I did came. I did make the episode exactly like I said. Dude, so recently I've been on like this huge thing. Like Joe Rogan's podcast is addicting. It is so addicting. It started at first, I just watched it just to like improve on my podcasting skills, and then like now every single day, all day. Like even before that, like I would maybe watch like an episode on Friday just for like chill stuff, because typically like if I'm consuming like any form of media, it'll be like what is it called? It'll be more focused stuff. Like I'll be doing, that's not what I meant to do. Like I said, it'll be more focused stuff, such as like real estate. I was watching Bigger Pockets podcast, really good podcast if you want to get into real estate. Basically, they just have people from people who have succeeded in real estate. They just come on and talk about like their process, how they did it. And one thing that I've noticed is if you're interested in real estate, one really good way to get into real estate is by doing this thing called house hacking. Which house hacking is basically if you rent out like a a 2-bedroom house with, I think it's 2-bedroom. I mean, it doesn't really matter, like anything more than a 2-bedroom, or anything that's a 2-bedroom or more, basically you're good, because what you're doing is you're just renting out the other rooms. So basically what you can do is just have someone either take care of your expense, either that or you can, like if you have, I guess, like a 4-bedroom or a 3-bedroom, then you can have one person take care of your expense and then have another make you a little bit extra. And that's just a really good way to start in real estate, because a lot of times like my position is I want to get into it. I mean, I say that, but I haven't talked to any like banks or anything. But I wanted to get into it, but like I just got out of high school. I don't even have a credit score yet, or at least I haven't been able to see it, because I do have a credit card, but I don't have, like, I think as far as I know you have to have it for like 6 or so months before you can actually see your FICO score or whatever it is. That's just how they do it for me. Excuse me. Yeah, so you have to wait like 6 months before you get your actual like credit score. And then shoot, I forgot what I was talking about. But yeah, anyway, so I guess even if I did want to, I don't know, I really do need to do more research into it, but right now I'm just kind of figuring like if I build the capital first, then that might be the better way, because I also have to put down a down payment, which from what I did do research on, like a lot of the houses on I forgot what I was looking at. I think it was like started with a Z, but a lot of those houses, unless they were like pieces of wood sticking out of the ground, were like $50,000 down payments. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So I don't know. I'm just trying to save up as much as I can for now. Cause I figure like as I'm doing this, then I'm also doing drop shipping. By the time like if I stick with my job, it should sort of add up all together. And by the time I do have 50,000, I figure like this will be more put together, like more of a base, more of a community around it, and so like that way I'll be able to I'll be able to get more support out of these and sort of have these already growing, so it's not as like stressful to, you know, purchase that whenever I have like also like a steady stream of income through this. And then I also have drop shipping and the podcasts, and which I guess this doubles as a podcast, so it's even better. And then I also have my books, one book currently, and then I mean just donations. So I don't know, I mean I'm trying not to worry about it too much, but man, dude, so this is kind of off topic, but well, it's not off topic. I was actually going here first whenever I brought up Joe Rogan, because I was listening today to Joe Rogan's episode with Bob Lazar, which, if you don't know Bob Lazar, he's this guy that like supposedly found out about, or he supposedly worked at Area 51, or actually I think he said like F or SF like 4 whatever, which was just like a side. It was just like a side thing of Area 51, but it's really, really interesting because like everything that he would talk about was like later on proven real. And I didn't like fact check anything, so I don't like for real know, but just based off of like what they said, and I don't assume that they're lying, you know what I mean? Like it just be kind of, I don't know, like I just don't see. One, he seemed like a pretty straight up legit guy, you know? He didn't seem like a bunch of BS. And so that's kind of what took me the most. Although he did kept saying stuff about like his migraines. I thought that was kind of silly, but I don't know, like I believed everything he said, and I know Joe Rogan is not one to just not question, you know what I mean? Like Joe Rogan has definitely had many uncomfortable conversations, and I think that's one thing I like about him a lot. Like he's definitely a role model for like podcasting in general, just because like he has people on, he just talks to them, he doesn't care that the camera's there, like he has a 100% genuine conversation. And I know it's different from me because like one, it's not just me, it's like it's also this entertainment. But I don't know, I've been kind of thinking about like trying episodes once I finish this, doing episodes of just like me alone. But back to Bob Lazar though. So Bob Lazar is this guy that worked on like SF or whatever, but anyway, he got to go onto one of these spacecrafts that he claims is an Area 51, or maybe not even like a spacecraft. Like he doesn't know where it came from exactly because they didn't tell him any of that. But he said it's some form of spaceship that can float, based off of like this gravitational thing, like anti-gravity or whatever. Like he said that there was a wave. They formed a wave around the spaceship, and the wave is gravity. And this gravitational wave, like, is almost in like a heart shape around the spacecraft, and goes down like near the top. He also said that the spacecraft is really, really, really small. Like only fit for like a kid. And so I mean, it makes you wonder. You know what I mean? Like all this stuff that he's saying, and then he predicted some element that that doesn't exist, or that didn't exist until now. I think it's like 114 or 114 element 114. Which that's kind of crazy. And I've heard, like, based off of like seismograph things or whatever, the thing that measures the earthquakes. I've heard that everything that he says about like the shape is accurate. Everything that he says about the shape of the Area 51 underground is accurate. The stuff that you cannot see above ground, and he saw below ground. I don't know. It's just, it's believable. I believe it. I mean, I guess I should take that back. I don't like believe it. I'm curious about it, I'll say. I think I don't know, cause like here's my other thing. What if Bob Lazar was sent, or was like, what if it was planned? What if he works for the government, and for some reason, like the government, I don't know, wanted to like distract at that time. I don't know what's going on at the time. I think it was like the 80s or 90s whenever he came out. But shit, what was I saying? But it's just, I don't know. It's really, really, really bizarre. And here's my thing about like aliens. Like, I think there definitely could be aliens out there. But it's just kind of, it's kind of like, why haven't we seen them? And people say like, oh, well, you haven't seen them obviously because they're so advanced they could hide from any of your detections. I just feel like that doesn't really make sense, because like if you think about it, if there's one alien life form out there, you would think, unless every single one of the other life forms are just idiots, or I shouldn't say idiots, but like in the Stone Age, then you would think that, you know, if there's one, there's millions. I mean, millions out there, especially how big space is. And that's people's argument, like, oh, space is so vast. First off, no one understands what they're saying whenever they say that. They just know what they're told in their physics class. Space is so big and so vast. But there's a lot of stuff in space, and there's a lot of information being spat out from every direction in space. And so to think that that there's no way that any life form out there slipped up even just a little bit. And then that's another thing, like, oh, well, you know, maybe our technology just might not be advanced enough to like pick it up. Like, you don't think there's any way that there was any slip up in any way or form that anything tried to communicate? You know what I mean? Through, like, whether it was even through like light, you know, that we couldn't even detect it. Like, it just doesn't, I don't think it adds up. Especially being how many people are out there trying to find these aliens, trying to figure out these UFOs. It just, I don't know. I really don't think it holds up. And so, but I admit though that maybe, just, maybe there's a chance that somehow they hit, somehow they do have this crazy advanced technology that we don't know, that like we really don't understand, and thus can't figure out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not opposed to it at all. It's just I don't think it quite adds up if you really think about it. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of scares me though. That's one thing. It's odd to think that, if there are other life forms out there, I think it's humbling, but at the same time, really freaking scary. Like, because thinking about it, like, I don't know, it just makes me feel like I'm so out of control. Like, nothing is what I thought it was, Like, the whole world out there, like, there's so much more out there, and we're so focused. My main objective right now is to make this podcast. Like, what am I doing whenever there's a whole world of different life forms out there? I don't know. It's exciting, it's humbling, but at the same time, it's kind of scary. And I think it also makes me think about religion a little bit, because I think religion is one of those things, like, it's a mystery. It's almost the same mystery as, like, UFOs. Like, I don't know. I really don't know, to be honest. I have heard this one interesting theory, and I think, like, just maybe it could be true. 'Cause look, we have, how do I say this? Is it possible that it could be the act of an alien why we exist? You know what I mean? And I'll get back to, like, debunking this idea after, but first let me just explain, because I have an idea of why this might be debunked. At the same time, I think it's worth saying, because maybe it's not. You know what I mean? There's just a possibility. But so I'm just thinking about, because we're so different from most life forms, we are very unique, I think, in the way that we I heard it being put really, really well by, I can't remember, but the difference between us, Joe Rogan also brought this up. See, I've been watching a lot of Joe Rogan, but he said, he brought up, what was it? We are the sex organs of machines. Oh, yeah. That's it. He didn't say that, but someone else said it. And the idea is that because all our purposes is to create better machinery. Like, everything we're doing, like, we have a job just to create better machinery. We're not, like, machine, like, just build better stuff. Like, we came from cars, like little small motor cars, to iPhones. Like, think about, well, first off, just think about a car in general, and then think about an airplane, we can fly in the sky now. Like, that's kind of, like, really freaking, like, if you think about it, that's weird. That is weird that we can fly in the sky. That is not normal. And you know it because, like, we're not meant to be in the sky. And, like, that's why, I don't know, that's why, like, you're, I mean, I guess that doesn't make sense. Because, like, I know people can, like, adapt to whatever, to, like, high altitudes, so, I don't know, I guess we're not technically not made to be in, I don't know, we're just made, whatever, we don't go into the sky, like, that's, like, look, picture yourself a Victorian, well, not that, picture yourself like a, not even Renaissance, man, before, whatever was before Renaissance, picture yourself an Egyptian. You're an Egyptian, and you're just staring up at the sky. Like, if there was some giant piece of metal hurling through the sky, you would freak out. Which brings me to another thing. Like, what was the sky like before we threw a whole bunch of metal, hunks of metal up there and let them fly everywhere? Like, it kind of makes me wonder, like how much that's changed, everything. I don't know. It's just interesting to think about. I also heard this other thing, and I actually do think I also heard it from Joe Rogan. I really need to stop watching this podcast. He's making me, like, conspiracy. Not even conspiracy, but just, like, a skeptic. You know what I mean? But I never knew about any of this stuff. But there's this theory by some guy, and the theory goes that that we were created by these aliens. So kind of going back to the creation thing, we were created by aliens to produce, to dig up gold, and the reason being is because aliens came and their atmosphere was well, they were running out of atmosphere, so they needed us to dig up their gold, or dig up some gold, so that we could give it, or so that we could save their atmosphere. You know what I mean? Like, that's some crazy stuff. And then he brought up, which I didn't fact check this either. But then he went on talking about how we are losing atmosphere, which I have no idea is true. And that there are some scientists that are proposing that what if we threw metal up in the atmosphere, or like gold up in the atmosphere. So I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's interesting. It's also very, very interesting that, like, these old things like that, I don't even think that was Egyptians. I think it was earlier than Egyptians, like, but it was in that same area, or like in the Middle East somewhere or something. Like, they have ancient scripts of, like, or ancient, like, scrolls of this type of stuff. Oh, like, this reminds me of Nephilim. Like, the stuff in the Bible is kind of freaky, dude. Like, you think about it, like, what if, like, the aliens are Nephilim? Like, just going back to the idea, like, what if aliens reproduce with us? You know what I mean? Mess with our genes, or genetically modified us, or I don't know, whatever. And then God said, like, that the Nephilim were, like, an abomination, you know? Like, what does all that mean? Like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? Like, what if that did happen? And then the same way, like, I don't know. Like, what if we made monkeys right now, apes right now, way too advanced? should we be afraid? Like, what happens then? Do they take over everything? Like Planet of the Apes? I don't know, man. It just has me thinking. All this alien stuff, but like, whatever. I don't know. Part of me, like, doesn't, like, I think it's interesting for sure, but I don't know. Like, what are you gonna do about it, Can't control everything. Can't, like, tell aliens to go away, Man. This is late for me. That's why I'm rambling on about aliens. This is late. So I actually got a question. I actually got a question that was really, really, really good. So I posted. If you don't know, I post on. Whoops. If you don't know, I post before I release an episode. I post on my Instagram, Joshua T Bryan 64. I post like, oh, I'm gonna go live. Ask me a question. And I got this really, really good question. So, who are some of your role models you look up to? And what action could you take to get to their position? Man, that is an incredible question. And I like this question a lot because, not only does it make me think, but it's also, like, kind of making me, like, give a good example of everything I'm preaching. Like, because I talk about building your avatar, like, who is the perfect you? You know what I mean? That's a huge part of the goal setting that I'm all about. Like, what is the perfect you? And so, one, like, technique to sort of figure out, what you should be looking for is by looking at people that you look up to and figuring out exactly what is it in them that, like, what did they have that you find so attractive, and then take that and basically become that, like, take that trait and add that to you, to become that perfect vision that you have. So who is someone that I role model? I guess one good example is, like, for my podcast, I definitely feel like Joe Rogan is an inspiration. I don't know if I would say role model, but an inspiration for sure. Because his podcast is really good. So I feel like that's not a fair example. A role model. So I actually have this idea that I got from this book, Think and Grow Rich. And the idea is that you have, like, this mental, what is it called? Like a mental group of people that kind of, like, helps you make decisions. And so you'll have, like, I don't know, let's say, like Jesus would be a good example, because Jesus represents something very specific to you, like, whether it's, like, love or kindness or acceptance, or, I don't know, following the golden rule. Like, you believe, like, that's something that you want to be, or, like, something that you want to guide your life. And so you have Jesus be that representation in your mentality, and that becomes one person sort of in your imaginary inner circle. Because, like, let's say you have to, like, you have a friend that lies to you, and so now you have to make a moral decision on if you drop that friend or keep that friend around. So basically, you go to your mental like little thought, and you talk to your version of Jesus about this issue. Say, yo, yo, J Dog. So I got this person. What do I do? And then, and J Dog is just kind of like, yo, forgive them. 77 times 7. And then, yeah. So that's kind of how it works. And so I think in a way, like, that's kind of, or what I'm, not in a way, but like what I'm getting with that is this like a perfect example? Or that's just a technique. That's not even an example. Well, actually, yeah, that is an example. That's like a technique that you can use. So I would say one of my role models then is honestly Conor McGregor. And I know it's a bad example because I just used Jesus, a guy that's dead that no one really knows. Or arguably maybe not dead. Like no one knows, but it's more like by this point has become more of an idea than it is like an actual person, you know what I mean? Like by this point Jesus 100% like just represents like love, compassion, you know, just like all the Christian values. Not even worried about that. So that's kind of what I'm saying. But anyway, sorry. I'm digressing. Honestly, I'm kind of tired. But that's what I was saying. So my, all that being said, my perfect how is this? My perfect or like one of my role models, yeah, Conor McGregor. And the reason why I say that, I can miss that right now. The reason why I say Conor McGregor is because to me, one thing that I've always wanted to work on is just confidence in belief beyond, or belief in yourself to a fault. And Conor McGregor is the perfect example for that. And I don't even know a whole lot about the guy. Like, I don't even watch like UFC. I've just heard him talk on some things and like the law of attraction. And so to me, that's what he represents. You know, I don't care about him throwing the thing because my Conor McGregor in my head is different. So it's more like my role model is the idea I have of someone, not necessarily like that person who they are. So like here's a really good example. So another role model of mine that I have in my like mental counsel is what's his name? Excuse me. Socrates. So Socrates never wrote anything down, right? And so everything that Socrates is just an idea written by Plato, or like Plato's vision of Socrates. But to me, like, Socrates represents a very specific trait of just constant questioning and trying to learn and figure out, and understanding that you don't know everything. And that is humbling, like at its strongest point. Like that is the most humbling perspective to have. And what was I saying? Yeah, well, it's humbling anyway. So Oh yeah, and that's what that represents to me. That's just something that. Whoops, wrong eye. Like that keeps you. I don't know, like on focus. Hold on, let me go back to the question. So the question was, who are your models? Yeah, like Socrates and the other guy that I mentioned. I forgot who I mentioned. Oh, to get to their position. Okay. Well, yeah, like I said, so if I ever need to make a decision, then, like, being that Socrates is, like, constant questioning, like, if I'm ever dealing with something, like, oh, this person did this to me, you know, da-da-da-da, I might go to Socrates and say, like, okay, what do you think? Is this, like, something that I should be upset about? Something that I should have a problem with? And that's how you figure out kind of like if you should really be upset or not, I guess. And I guess like in a way, like that's how you figure out what am I trying to say? That's how you figure out if it is or that's how you become, I guess, like more like the Socrates. But it's more of like who you think Socrates is, like not even actual Socrates, you know, like who you picture him as in your head. So that's just one good technique, and that's why I go that route. But then another route, I guess, like a role model that I have. So my problem is no one's perfect. You know what I mean? So everything you're just taking a piece of like who somebody is. You know what I mean? Like a trait that you really like about somebody, and after the fact, then applying that very specific trait to yourself. So I don't know. So that's how I'm gonna answer that. But really, really good question. Really, really fantastic question. Always has the best questions. Anyway, guys, it's getting pretty late. But you know, I appreciate it. I had a really good time. I think today was really good. I just want to say thanks for listening. If you came to listen, I do appreciate it. Make sure that you like if you liked. Comment. If you, honestly, comment if you have any questions for the next episode on Monday, which is actually Labor Day. Yeah, comment if you have any questions, like or you know anything. And then if you want to see more of my content, like my music. Well, one, my music is on YouTube, but if you want to see just like some other stuff, then you can actually go to my website, joshuatbryan.com, which I actually have a link to in the description. So there's absolutely no reason why you can't go there. So you might as well go there. Or else you're fake. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah. So anyway, that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode, and make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, click the bell notification so that you know whenever I post. Ask any questions. Follow me on Instagram, JoshuaTBryan64. Go to my website for more content, JoshuaTBryan.com. And with all that, I'm going to check you guys later. Peace.